Hey Turtle fans, this is the White Foot Soldier bringing you another Rise of the TMNT review. This time we're going to look at the bad guys of the series. We got the Origami Ninja, Meat Sweats, and Baron Draxum. Here's a look at Meat Sweats, the Tenderizer, and we can see the box art up in the top right hand corner. I mentioned this in my review of April and Splinter. We can see that we get the 4 turtles, so if we're just ripping through the pegs, we don't actually have to see what figure it is. If we're looking for a non-turtle, we see that and we go to it, we know that it's not a turtle, that it's either, you know, Meat Sweats, Origami Ninja, Baron Draxum, April, or Splinter. So it's kind of neat how they did that, just like the 2012 series I know was like that, and also the 2003 series also did something similar to that. So we see this is an interesting character. I actually can't comment on what he's like in the show because I have not seen that episode yet. I'm a little bit behind. Let's turn him around and see his bio. Zoom in there. Meat Tenderizer being his weapon. So he's a pig mutant. Let's see, once a human celebrity chef. Okay, so kind of an interesting character to say the least. And next up we have Baron Draxum. This character is pretty cool because he is voiced by John Cena. So as a wrestling fan, I think that's pretty awesome that John Cena is on the show for this. Interesting character, curious to see where it goes. The maker of Mutants, you can see right here, and I found it really interesting, him talking about you know, his experiments so many years ago, blah blah blah. So we'll see where it goes. It's going to be kind of interesting to see where, when Shredder comes in, how everything kind of ties in together with Baron Draxum. But it's cool to start off with a new villain because then that extends Shredder's life, in my opinion, because, you know, if things go south with the new villains, then you bring in Shredder, and I think everybody will be interested to see what he brings to the table then. So we'll turn Baron over, and we can see his weapons are the mosquitoes, which I think are really cool. I love that idea. I think it's neat to have the mosquitoes, you know, transmit the ooze into people. Something neat that the creators came up with. And you can see his bio there. And the third figure we're going to have a look at today is the Origami Ninja. Now, I think this is an awesome idea. I love the Origami Foot clan in general. The Foot Lieutenant creating these guys, I think it's so cool because not only, you know, is the idea neat, you know, a ninja coming from the origami, but I think it's cool because the turtles can technically kill these characters and still get by the you know, the guidelines and stuff for a children's cartoon. So it's kind of like the robotic foot soldiers, how they were in the original cartoon, how they were able to blow the turtles were able to blow them up and whatnot, and cut them and stuff, you know, with swords, because they weren't real people, so they weren't killing people in a cartoon. So I think this is an awesome idea. Really excited to see where that goes, and I'm excited to get the Foot Lieutenant. Hopefully we get the other Foot Lieutenant, the bigger one. I know we're getting the skinnier guy. So let's turn him over. We have, what's it say, Confetti Commandos. We turn him over. And Mystic Power Teleportation. Now I did see this episode where the Origami Ninja are introduced, and it's pretty interesting. First encounter with the Foot Clan. I enjoyed it. We look at the face, you know, on the figure itself, and they're still using the foot, obviously representing the Foot Clan. So let's break these open and see what they come with. Okay, now that they're free from the plastic, let's have a look at the 3 bad guys that we have here. We have the Origami Ninja on the left, so let's check him out first. We can see right away there's a little bit of sloppiness with the paint on his head there, kind of on his face, a little bit black paint, kind of chipped off the top. But pretty cool how he has the foot, you know, right over his hood there. And, you know, the shape of the figure itself is kind of a slouched over version. It almost looks like, kind of reminds me of the slouched over figure from, you know, the original cartoon. We get some articulation in the shoulders, in the elbows, and kind of the forearm. Same thing on both sides. Head swivel around. Yep, head swivels around. And we get a ball joint in the hip, and nothing in the knees or the ankles, I don't think. Nope. And now this figure, since it has the skinny legs and kind of the heavier upper body, and then the foot you can see is kind of shaped weird, almost like it's like a walking or almost like a running pose. It is a little bit difficult to stand up. So this guy, you know, you kind of have to work with him a little bit to get him to stand up. It comes with a couple accessories. Now this is more rubber than a harder plastic, and I'm guessing that these are actually the origami pieces themselves. So just looking at them, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing that that's what they are. You know, you can see there's some different sizes there, so that's a really cool, if that is what it is, I think that's really cool that they added that in there. You know, I think that if it came with the Foot Lieutenant, that would probably be better, but it's still neat to have these and something fun, you know, to add in once Foot Lieutenant does come along while you're posing these figures. Now, Baron is an interesting character. Not even exactly sure what he is. Looking at the legs, he's an interesting character. Kind of reminds me of Savanti Romero's legs, or maybe some sort of insect even. I'm not even sure. So interesting character with a cool voice actor. John Cena, as mentioned earlier. So we get these kind of crazy looking demon dog-like creatures, I guess, on his shoulder. I remember seeing these in the episode itself. So it is pretty accurate as far as that goes. Pretty well painted. You can see the gold on the head there, looks pretty cool. We get some different colors in the eyes. You know, not painted on the stomach area there. Just flipping them around. Get kind of the long hair in the back. There's some glue or something. I'm not sure what that is in the back. I don't know if that's some paint that rubbed off or some glue there. So let's check out the articulation next. With the articulation, we get the ball joints in the shoulders. We get ball joints in the elbows. No wrist articulation. Moving on down, we get the ball joint in the hip. And we also get some crazy looking movement there. I don't know why. It goes forward pretty far. So that goes back and forth there. And that's it then. From there down, there's nothing else, just the solid plastic. So he stands pretty well though, even though he has kind of the smaller legs. And let's have a look at his accessories. So two cool accessories that he has are the Mosquitoes, which, as I mentioned earlier, I really like this concept. I think that's cool, so I'm glad that these were included. And we also get two extra demon-like dog creatures. See, there's different colors in the eyes, and they're actually just a different looking demon thing overall. So some fun accessories with Baron. Let's next move on to the final villain from the Rise of the TMNT Series 1 line by Playmates. We get Meat Sweats. Now this character I've heard a lot about early on, prior to even watching the show, but I have not seen the episode with him in it yet. So if we look at the figure itself, it's you know, big belly, looks pretty well painted. I mean, I don't really see anything missing right away. I might notice more as I watch the show. I guess back here could maybe be painted in the yellow, but it's not really anything, you know, too noticeable. So let's check out the articulation in this guy. We get some movement in the shoulders, a little bit tight, some movement in the elbows, and the wrists swivel around as well. Actually, oh, wait a minute. So the wrist swivels. Did I see that right? Let's see. Okay, nope, I'm seeing things. So the wrist, yep, the wrist swivels the whole wrist. I was thinking that the hand part actually moved, and then maybe that moved as well. But yep, the wrist articulation there. We get some those ball joints in the. Yeah, I think they're ball joints up in the hip area. The apron, of course, and yeah, that pretty much does it. I think for the articulation, we get some movement in the head. Now the head in here is pretty solid plastic. Something that's neat that I noticed, he comes with his meat tenderizer, of course, but he also comes with a removable hand swab. So if we just simply take the hand, pop it off, and get the peg, pop this on. Kind of give him a little stubby hand there, so it's just kind of something different. that I kind of like that they added, you know, something different for this line. So, you know, removable hand swap. We see a lot of hand swaps with many of the other figure lines for the turtles, but not as much, you know, for Playmates. So this is kind of a cool thing that they did. And if you want to, you know, pop it off, it comes right off, and you can pop on the other one to match the left arm. So see how this fits in there. It kind of looks like even a bone maybe down. So here are the 3 villains then. That kind of wraps things up for the 3 villains. I'm going to be posting some pictures of these guys on the website. I'm glad we get the Origami Ninja. I might try to army build with that guy. I think, like I said, the Origami Ninja is a really neat concept. Thank you so much for watching, and continue to check out Rise of the TMNT on Nickelodeon, and you can find these figures at Walmart is where I found these currently. I believe Target's going to be carrying them soon. Walmart is $8.46 per figure, so reasonable price, actually cheaper than the last series. And as you can see, they're very nicely made, and they're good interpretations of the new Rise of the TMNT cartoon. So thanks again for watching.